Hello and welcome to the Below the Double Yellow Cup Series live tonight from Talladega Superspeedway for the Simulators Anonymous 200. The second to last race of the season, the cutoff race to make it into the Championship 4. And these drivers trying to find their way in to the two remaining spots in those four positions. I'm here with Zach Halpern tonight. Zach, how's it going?
Hey Adam, how you doing, man?
Really good. Looking forward to this one. It's going to be a lot on the line for some of these guys tonight. What kind of race are you expecting from these drivers?
I really am looking forward to an exciting super speedway race. You know, hopefully we get some big wrecks. Talladega produces some of the biggest ones we see on the circuit, so hopefully we'll get one of those tonight. And we have some big drivers like Keith that are just outside looking in for the final four spots, so people might be driving pretty aggressive right now to get that last two spots in the playoffs.
Yeah, I think the stages are going to be very important here tonight, and of course you're going to have to keep your nose clean if you want a shot to win the race. So definitely going to be some drama at different points tonight, and we'll see if teammates work together to make their way into the final four, or what the whole situation's going to be there. But yeah, 80 lap race tonight. We have the stages at lap 15 and lap 30, and just over 200 miles the distance here tonight. Let's take a look at the point standings as they enter into tonight's race. Pulling those up right now. AJ Stravato's Safe Fair is locked in by nature of their wins in this round, and luckily enough for them, I mean, Safe would have been on the outside looking in, or just outside that cut line coming into tonight's race if he had not gotten the victory. Keith Maioto with his 4 wins is on the outside, like you mentioned, and he has some work to do tonight to get up above that and be up in contention with his teammates Seth Hatchell and Ryan Gemmel. And then Eric Hutton, a race winner from Martinsville this season, he is on the outside looking in as well. Chris Samard down there below the cut line, and then race winner Nick Gardner from earlier in the season here at Talladega. He is not in the race tonight, so I think Nick going to be eliminated no matter what. So 5 drivers fighting for 2 spots, and we get pretty tense here tonight.
And there's going to be 2 different strategies, I believe, coming from these drivers. I think there's going to be drivers who understand that it's more finishing the race than it is getting those stage points, and they might be kind of chilling in the back for most of the race, trying to avoid any wrecks if there are some. And then you're going to have drivers who are obviously going to be saying, I want as many points as possible tonight, and even if I wreck, stage points can help if I do wreck, because most of the times wrecking at Talladega is inevitable. So I will be looking for 2 different strategies tonight from our playoff drivers.
Yeah, I'll see, you know, some of those will definitely be hanging at the back. Some will be riding at the front here. Safe Fair is I know he said he'd push his teammates up there into contention for the win. We're going to see the same from AJ Stravato. I think AJ with his race win was going to try and help out Eric Hutton, and we'll see what he can do with the field here tonight. Not too big of a field. I think 26 drivers is the number that we're looking at the moment. We'll see if anybody enters late here during qualifying, which has started. We see Jeremiah Vincent making his way around. Let's take a look at the weather, which can play a factor in these races. Not too often will it make much of a difference in the handling of the car, but as the tires wear, sometimes entering the corner from that second groove can get pretty dicey. And tonight, 113-degree track temperature should make things interesting up there.
You definitely won't want to be pushing too hard through the corners. In general, you don't want to do that, but when it's that hot and the track is getting pretty slick, you don't want to be pushing that hard throughout the corners, because that is the slipperiest part of the track.
Yeah, it definitely can get a little bit scary when you go into the corner. The back end starts coming around on you at 200 plus miles an hour, and you've got cars all surrounding you. It can be almost a helpless feeling at moments. So we'll see how aggressive the bump drafts are here tonight, and we know with the new aero package and drafting package in iRacing, it can get a little bit difficult to make the passes on the high line, so you'll have to be aggressive at times if you want to make progress up there. But should be fun. We see the 9 car across the start finish line. He will clock in a lap time of 52:05. Currently, Nick Starling with the fastest time in the throwback Xerox paint scheme, number 99 right there. Nice looking car. We've got Robert Gilmore for Simulators Anonymous. The number 40, he goes to second on the board right now in the Simulator Anonymous 200 qualifying. So good to see Robert having a strong first lap. We'll see if he can top it on lap number 2. And right now, 14 drivers with a time in. I know there were a few I saw chatting before the race that are really going to push as hard as they can, fighting for a win and a win alone. We saw Timmy Emanuele, one of those drivers. He is going to go all out here tonight to try and capture a victory. And he has had some good races this season, but no wins just yet. But tonight is an opportunity for some of these drivers.
And Talladega definitely does produce some often different names than normally heard of here for winners. So you have people in real life who come out to these restrictor plate races and they pull out a win. Michael McDowell did it earlier this year at Daytona, and plenty of drivers have done it before as well. So I'm looking for possibly people to play spoiler tonight as well, to kind of, hey, I'm out here too. I deserve a win just as much as the playoff drivers.
Yeah, I think we'll see some different characters up towards the front. As Eric Hutton making his way around, I think he's got a little issue with his paint scheme here tonight. I don't know if you're seeing what I'm seeing, but I don't know if that's how that scheme was supposed to be applied. But either way, that will be a very unique car to look at throughout the race. Yeah, Eric, one of those drivers I think we expect to be up towards the front at the super speedways. He won over there in the Virtual Racing League earlier this season, and last season here in the Below the Double Yellow Cup Series, he grabbed a win at one of the super speedways as well. So definitely a driver to watch out for, that number 77.
One funny thing, I was just going through all the camera angles just to appreciate the off-skewedness of that paint scheme. If you go to his nameplate on the inside, you can see the Goodyear logo underneath his name, and it makes us smile. So
oh yeah,
definitely interesting. Maybe it was on purpose. I highly doubt it, but
yeah,
definitely gonna stand out.
Yeah, it's one of those. It's almost too artistic to understand. You know, just looking at it like that. I'm sure he has some reasons for it, but right now 19 drivers with lap times in. AJ Stravato trying to improve, and he'll go to a 51:42, which will put him 6th on the board, right there behind Chris Simard and in front of Seth Hatchell. Brett Somers jumps to 10th on his qualifying lap. Nice lap there by Brett. And it looks like that is going to be it for drivers taking lap times. So 19 have qualified. Safe Fair is currently the pole sitter. And we will be right back after a quick commercial break. V-Speed is proud to be partnered with Below the Double Yellow podcast, a podcast for NASCAR fans by NASCAR fans. Listen to Nick and Joe discuss all the latest on-track action, available on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. V-Speed is also proud to present the 2021 Below the Double Yellow Cup Series, brought to you by the American Trucking Association, starting January 14th, 8:25 p.m. Eastern Time, Thursdays at twitch.tv/VSpeedSim. Welcome to V-Speed, your home for sim racing excitement, providing dramatic moments from iRacing and beyond. We offer broadcasting for leagues across iRacing, and specialized packages to help grow your league and advertise your sponsors. Shot at it, I think, and right now Stravato with that advantage. It's half a car length the difference between first and second going into turn 1. He gives the bumper to Connor Horn.
These two have gone all year to get to this point. Jacob Shorba drifting up the racetrack. They make contact. The 88 goes around. The 95 goes around. The 12 caught in it.
Our design team can help you create anything from paint schemes to sim rig parts with expertise in both 2D and 3D design with 3D printing capabilities. Looking to get into broadcasting yourself? We can help you design and operate custom overlays to make your stream look as professional as possible. Our team can create and manage custom merchandise sales for you and your team. Check out our shop to see what we have in stock and how we can create some awesome merch for you. Check out our race replays on YouTube or catch us live weekly on Twitch. Visit us at vspeedsim.com to see how we can help you on your iRacing journey. All right, back at the racetrack. Going to go through our starting grid for tonight's race, the Simulator Anonymous 200. Find out where your favorite drivers are starting in tonight's race. Rolling off from the front row, it's going to be Safe Ferris capturing the pole. Already locked in, but that's not slowing him down here tonight. Fastest during qualifying. He'll take that top spot. Ryan Gemmel, his teammate, who needs some help from Safe. After a little run-in last week, he's expecting, I think, the 44 to help him out. He'll start to his outside in second. Falling off third, Josiah Vincent. Starting in fourth, Keith Mayato. Starting in fifth, it's going to be Chris Samard. Rolling off sixth, AJ Stravato. Starting in seventh tonight, it's going to be Seth Hatchell. Starting on the outside in eighth, it'll be Dennis Faircloth. Eric Lambert going to be rolling off from the ninth position. And Brett Sommers rolling off from 10th.
And starting in 11th will be the 77 of Eric Hutton. Starting in 12th will be the 99 of Nick Starling. And 13th will be the 41 of Nathaniel Ostrowski. And in 14th will be the 9 of Jeremiah Fison. 15th will have Robert Gilmore. 16th, Lyle Selfridge. And in 17th we have Timmy Emanuele. And in 18th, Cody Atkins. 19th, Dennis Steele. 20th, Dallas Sullivan. 21st, Lane Sulfridge. 22nd, Justin Carey. 23rd, Jordan Shepler. 24th, Zach Smith. 25th will be Kyle M. Payne. And rounding off the field in 26th will be Jordan Brockhill.
So 26 drivers at Talladega Superspeedway. It's a pretty good number. Not too small of a field, not too big of a field. So hopefully we get some good green flag racing in tonight. And expecting a lot of action A lot of aggressive driving from a few of these guys, but really the ones that need the points, they're starting up towards the front. Other than maybe Eric Hutton, he's starting in that 11th position. He'll have to get into the stage top 10 if he wants to get some of those bonus points, which he is going to desperately need. Unless he is fighting just for the win, he'll want to get as many bonus points as possible. But yeah, should be a good one. And just one pace lap here before we get things started off. Looks like Safe Fares might be electing to take the outside lane. Yeah, it looks like he does pick the outside on this initial start.
There's probably some communication going on between him and the 6, obviously, after what happened last week. Probably just wants to let the 6 car lead off these laps and hopefully try to get most laps led, if that is a bonus point also in this league.
Yep, those are bonus points if you lead laps, if you lead the most laps. Nice to be rewarded for those kinds of things. I know real NASCAR doesn't do that anymore. Something that I think they should have never gotten rid of. But I have a lot of opinions that differ from the real world rules and the packages that they've gone with. But yeah, I think they're running things pretty well here, and those bonus points going to come into play this evening. But yeah, it is Safe Fares with Team Red Speed on the pole, and then he's got 4 out of the next 5 cars being the V-Speed drivers. So he's got some friends back there behind him. It'll be real interesting to see how these guys work together. Pace car makes the hard left-hand turn onto the apron, and still about another 1/10 of a mile before we take the green flag. It will be Safe Fares, Ryan Gemmel getting us going here tonight.
It looks like AJ will be going to the back of the pack as well. He got an EOL penalty.
Oh, interesting. Yep, so AJ dropping to the back. Green flag in the air. We're underway for the Simulators Anonymous 200 from Talladega Superspeedway. Cheer on your favorite drivers. Let us know you're out there, and we'll try and follow along with them throughout the race. As Ryan Gemmel leading that inside line through 1 and 2, pulling an advantage over Safe Fares in that top groove. Here goes Keith Mayato to the inside, and Safe all by himself up high.
And we can already see that inside line establishing much quicker than the outside line, as the outside line is very spread out. You're going to see these drivers on the inside get a good run going into turn 3 and possibly off the corner as well.
Yeah, I saw Josiah Vincent actually jump to the outside there, but you can see how far he fell just through 3 and 4 alone. All the way back next to Seth Hatchell as the V-Speed drivers all lined up now 1, 2, 3, 4 on the inside line. And Ryan Gemmel leads them across the start-finish for lap number 1. Safe Fares, the pole sitter, already back to 7th by picking that outside lane. So hurting himself a little bit, or his potential possibly in this first stage. But it's not all that big a deal as he is locked into the next round. But interesting to see him help those guys out in that way. Did see a car drop to the apron towards the back. I don't know who that was. Oh, it looks like Nick Starling actually drops all the way to the rear in the Xerox 99. And he's nearly in danger of losing the draft, so got to be very careful of that. Yeah, this inside line definitely looking dominant here on the first 2 laps.
That inside line is always the preferred lane here at Talladega, especially towards the beginning of the race. But the outside line, I always say, can make passes. It's just a matter of how aggressive you want to be on that outside line. If you side draft, you can get huge runs on the outside, and a lot of times that's where passes for the win end up being made. But at this point in the race, there's no sense in really side drafting so hard, as a lot of times there's either connection issues or the driver on the bottom comes up a little bit and you wreck the field. So right now, just look for that outside line to give some space to the inside, and the inside to kind of just pull away.
Yeah, I saw Eric Hutton just a moment ago. He drifted up about a half lane in 3 and 4. And it seems like these cars might be a little bit unstable in the draft. Josiah Vincent, he got a little bit loose going down into turn number 1 with Safe Fares all over the back bumper of him. So this will be interesting to see how hard they push. You can see they're all kind of spaced out. Nobody's really bumper to bumper. It is lap 4, and so you don't tend to do that, but you can see right there even the 4 of Josiah Vincent, big wiggle in 1 and 2. maybe just tires coming up to temp, trying to get an idea of how these cars handle in these big packs.
As we see the 81 drop down below the yellow line to fall to the back as well. He might also lose the draft, as we saw that back pack further back lose the draft, and you can see on the back of the 81 there's a little bit of damage, so some form of contact early on in this race that we just didn't see.
Yeah, 4 cars a distance back, about 5.5 seconds. It's Kyle Payne, Nick Starling, Jordan Brackell, and Jordan Shepler back here. And Cody Adkins maybe trying to join them. He's kind of by himself. You said that rear end damage that could be hurting him. I think he's maybe just playing it safe at this point with really nothing to gain by being up there in the pack.
We also just saw Jeremiah Vincent and Eric Hutton pull out and go to the top line, and kind of able to stay stable with the inside line right now as the 40 and the 4 start to catch up. They might be getting a big run off of this next turn and could start making up some ground. If you can get that outside line stacked, you can make up some ground.
Yep, as we see Zach Smith actually drop to the apron. Another driver going towards the rear. Not a bad call. I mean, only 15 lap stage here, and things could get pretty crazy on lap 15 coming to lap 16 to determine who gets those stage points. But right now, V-Speed's locking up the top 4, and then Eric Hutton, or Eric Lambert rather, and Nathaniel Ostrowski up here, 5th and 6th. And Safe Ferris has gotten back to the inside. He's in that 7th position as AJ Stravato maybe starting to work forward. He's trying to pull a little side draft there off the 44. And it does seem to work actually down the back straightaway. Now he gets in front of Safe. He'll take over the 7th position. Good move there by the 48.
Yeah, it was a very interesting move and kind of an unconventional way to pass at Talladega. Just pulling out by yourself. Side drafting very hard. Side drafting's common, but being able to pass just one car like that, normally you see that more go down to the inside instead of go to the outside. So very impressive there by AJ.
Yeah, I think Safe also maybe trying to figure out what the cars are doing with the side draft and everything. He jumps to the outside now of AJ. Going to challenge back for that 7th position. He's got Hutton in his mirror as well as Jeremiah Vincent. Hutton's going to abandon ship. He'll go to the inside. And that'll slow up the outside lane just a little bit. Safe will drop back into the hands of the 9 machine. Down into 3 and 4. Nose to tail they go. Big wiggle there. He's pushing him into the corner. And that's going to stack up those drivers on the high side. Josiah Vincent almost got run over by Timmy Emanuele. But they continue onwards. But still not a whole lot of progress up high. Now we see AJ jump from the 6th position to the outside of Nathaniel Ostrowski. And he's got Eric Hutton right there with him, his drafting buddy, who's going to try and help get the win tonight.
Yeah, you can see if you just mistime that move to the outside a little bit too early or a little bit too late, that you won't really get that good of a run on the car on the inside like AJ did that first time. And they're probably just going to try and come back in as AJ does abandon Eric there, as Eric was unable to fall in line as well. He'll probably look to be getting behind the 40 car here in a second as he does drop down and get behind the 40 as they are 3 wide further back.
Yeah, I see that going on back there. We see Dennis Faircloth, Dennis Steele, Jeremiah Vincent, and Justin Carey and others back here. Kind of the tail end of this lead group. Only 18 drivers in this lead pack, and then, you know, the rest of the guys at least 7.5 seconds back. It looks like they've all kind of joined forces. Lane Sulfridge, Zach Smith, Cody Adkins, Dallas Sullivan, Nick Starling, Jordan Brackell, Kyle Payne, and Jordan Shepler. This secondary pack, and they are well out of harm's way this far back, but running side by side right now is not going to keep them up to full speed. But out front, Ryan Gemmel, he is showing the way, continuing to pull this field around. We're coming to lap 10 now. He doesn't have too many more laps to go before he wins the stage, and he can use those bonus points as much as anybody, being currently the last driver inside the cut line.
He does have his another driver that's just outside the cut line though, and Keith, who probably would really like that stage win, as he needs it just as much as Ryan does. So I wouldn't be surprised if you see Keith pull out and try to make a pass before the end of the stage, or perhaps they're trying to work something out. You take stage 1, you help me with stage 2. There's definitely some communication going on.
Yeah, I think they're definitely, working together for the moment. But yeah, when it comes to lap 15, lap 16, somebody's going to make a move, I think. Also, Chris Samard, he's right there as well. Chris really needs the points. He's in a deeper hole than Keith. But yeah, Keith with his 4 wins on the season just missed last week's race. And that put him in the position that he's in. He would have been one of the favorites to win at Watkins Glen if he had been there, but unfortunately got called into work. So real world things getting in the way, but he's got a shot to get back into the top 4 in tonight's race. And we do have some shuffling going on behind. Oh, Eric Hutton across the nose of Brett Sommers, tried to squeeze in that gap. Almost lost control down the backstretch and able to hang on to it. But that was a very close call. If we can go back and kind of watch this again. The 77 drops down. Yeah, he came right across the nose of Brett Sommers. And Brett, I think, lifted a little bit to spare Eric, but that could have been disastrous for a driver battling to get up there into the championship 4. And a little bit behind his competitors at the moment.
And one thing I want to point out is, again, there's only 2 spots available left in the final round, and there's 3 drivers working together who one has the final spot and the other 2 don't. So there's only so much vacancy available for these drivers. As I see the 7 and the 40 get a little loose in the 48 of AJ try to get around him. I don't think he's going to have quite the run on the 7 though to be able to complete that pass. As Eric Hutton also pulls out of line, get around the 41, try to side drive very hard right now, as passing by yourself is not very easy to do here, as his teammate before Josiah Benson will try to push him and they fall back in line.
Yeah, and I just went back and looked at the incident headed into turn 3. It looks like Robert Gilmore got to the back bumper of Brett Sommers as they got down into the corner, and that really upset the balance of that 7 machine. Sommers able to hang on to it, but he's kind of been run over here the last couple of laps. Luckily at this point he's got a little breathing room, but that's a scary moment going down into turn 3 or running on the backstretch. People either running into you or cutting your nose off. There's not really a whole lot you can do. You've got to react almost instantly, and it's just sometimes it's not possible to do. But these guys out in front, they've got it clean and green right now. Nobody in their way. As Gemmel takes lap number 14, we'll have 2 to go to the end of the stage, and drivers like Eric Hutton and Chris Samard maybe going to start making a charge forward. Chris, you can see him lagging back a little from those top 2. Maybe gonna get some help from Seth Hatchell.
And I was just about to say, if these drivers do not get an outside line established by the back stretch, there's going to almost be no run for the leaders towards the end, as they have so much ground to make up. And with only 3 drivers now on the outside line, I don't really see much of a competitive end to this first stage, other than possibly between the top 3.
Yeah, right now Eric Hutton battling with Nathaniel Ostrowski. That has slowed them up significantly, as they've kind of lost touch with Eric Lambert. It's about 5 or 6 car lengths separating those 2. And so, yeah, the top 5 out single file. It's going to be tough for anybody to mount a charge against Ryan Gemmel. But one driver who might be able to, that is Keith Mayato. We'll see if he makes a move to the outside, and if any of his teammates go with him, or if they stay with Gemmel. As Hutton starting to use that outside line, but not close enough. Here goes Mayato. He'll get to the outside of Gemmel, and he's got Chris Samard right behind him. Here comes Hatchell. He'll look to the inside of the 37, but Keith Mayato, the last chance gasp, and he is going to be able to make it work through the tri-oval. He's got a good advantage. Here comes Hutton up on that high side. He might get second at the line, and he will. What a charge there by the 77. His caution will fly. Keith Mayato wins stage number 1, and I can't believe Hutton got there. That was crazy.
Yeah, there was a huge checkup, it looked like, when those 2 drivers pulled out. When Keith pulled out, the inside line just stalled a lot, and they didn't really able to get established again, and that outside line, which was established, just held on the gas and was able to catch up. A huge charge at the end for Eric Hutton, and that will help out as getting a second place. It's not as good as the stage win, but being able to start in second for another 15 lap stage will definitely put him in much better position than he was last time.
Yeah, the top 10 in the stage: Mayato, Hutton, Samard, Gemmel, Hatchell, Stravato, Eric Lambert, Josiah Vincent, Nathaniel Ostrowski, and the 70 of Lyle Sulfridge, rounding out the top 10. So all of those guys earning bonus points. Keith Mayato getting the most of them, so that will help him, try and pull his way back up across the cut line. But Gemmel and Hatchell also finishing pretty well in the stage, so Keith is going to need another stage just like that. And he's going to have to hope that his teammates don't make the move on him on the last lap, where he's able to hold off that charge. But it was really 2 versus 1 there. We saw Keith and Chris, make that move up to the high side, and Ryan was left to try and defend all by himself. A little bit interesting, the teammate strategy right there.
Ryan was a sitting duck, needless to say there. 2-on-1, typically you're going to lose unless the other 2 drivers wreck themselves. And at this point, I think it's going to be every man for themselves, and I don't blame them. You got to get into the playoffs, and you can't let your teammate get in over you. So I was looking through the field as I heard some driver chatter also in the 21, not very happy, and his car is pretty beat up, so not a good start for his day. I know he's not in the playoffs, but even still, every driver comes out here trying to compete.
Yeah, Justin with some heavy nose damage, as we do see quite a few cars actually stay out on the racetrack. There are some coming down, like Eric Hutton, AJ Stravato, and really the majority of the rest of the field. But I think we'll have about 10 drivers that stay out on the track. Take a look here. Mayato. Yep, Mayato, Gemmel, Samard, Hatchell, Eric Lambert, Josiah Vincent, Dennis Faircloth, Robert Gilmore, and Safe Ferris all staying out. Let's see if we can dial up the stage winner in Keith Mayato. Pull him up into the booth here. Keith Mayato, add him in the V-Speed booth. You got a copy?
10-4.
Well, Keith, you missed last week's race, unfortunately. We thought you might have had a good opportunity to win that one, but a good start to tonight's race. You win stage 1 and trying to gain as many points as you can. What was the strategy there going into those last few laps?
I'll do what I did pretty much, and hopefully pull it off. I saw Chris laying back a lot, and so I knew he was going to go for it, and I was kind of trying to time it with him, but yeah, it was good to make the move. It sucks, we got to race all each other in V-Speed to, fill in maybe the last spot or last 2 spots in the playoffs. But we all got to do what we have to do right now.
Yeah, and I think, if you had been at the race last week, even without the win, you would have probably been a shoo-in for this final spot. So, putting that car, I think, kind of where it should be at the moment, but you're still behind the 8 ball in terms of points, but definitely making up what you can so far. What's the strategy for stage 2 and towards the end of the race?
Hopefully win it all. I think that's my only option right now. I've never been in this situation, so I'm putting quite a bit of pressure on myself to be there at the end.
Yeah, and you did win at Daytona in one of these races, so you can obviously get it done, and that was with the new draft package and everything. So we'll look to see if you can get another Super Speedway win under your belt this season. But winner of stage 1. Anybody want to give a quick shout out to before we let you go back racing?
Yeah, shout out to Chris for letting me in there on the start. If he didn't let me in, then that wouldn't happen. I wouldn't get the stage win.
All right, Keith. Well, great job out there so far, and we'll catch you hopefully at the end.
We'll see what happens. Thank you.
All right. Yeah, Keith said he's not used to being in these kind of situations, and I can speak from experience that he is usually the guy up there in the position on his way to advancing, and not really with a lot of pressure on him. So, yeah, this will be a bit interesting to see how the rest of the race goes.
And one thing I wasn't thinking about, yeah, the next stage is at lap 30, but we have about 3 pace laps between 4 pace laps 25 actually. We're going to be taking the green at lap 20, so it's only going to be a 10 lap run to the next stage. So those are drivers that stayed out are thinking that they can make it on fuel. So I don't blame them for staying out one bit. At first I was like, why are they staying out? It makes sense to stay out when you only have to go about 10 laps.
Yeah, I wasn't sure either. It seemed like it was definitely it's going to be close, I think, for drivers like Ryan and Keith that led the laps, but I think these pace laps doing wonders for the fuel mileage of these cars. So we'll see how close it is, if anybody's going to have to save or make a late pit stop in the stage. But yeah, I think they're, based on the fact they stayed out, I think they're probably assuming they're good to go. First of the drivers to come off of pit road, though, that's going to be Eric Hutton. Eric Hutton in 10th on the fresh tires and fuel. Timmy Emanuele took either just fuel or 2 tires. And we have a mixture of drivers taking 2 or fuel only throughout the second half of the pack. I don't think the tires are going to make too big of a difference, although we did see drivers sliding a little bit kind of in the mid-pack.
Yeah, no, tires aren't too big of a deal here at Talladega. If you can, you want to take at least 2 tires when you come down pit road, because something's better than nothing. And in terms of maneuverability, new tires are better, but there isn't much tire wear here. I would say after like 50 laps, you might want to take new tires, but not after 15 laps.
Yeah, 2 tires is usually the call, I think, if you are going to take tires at all, but I think a lot of times people will take no tires and fuel only. This green flag back in the air. Keith Mayato gets us going to the outside. Ryan Gemmel, he's not able to drop in line just yet. Now he'll come across the nose of the 37 and take over the second spot, but leaves that bottom lane pretty open. I'm surprised Chris didn't try and make any kind of move there. But single file already among the top 7 or 8. Actually, all the way back to Safe Ferris, and everybody all the way back to, man, that's really deep. I think all the way back to about 17th position single file. As we do see Justin Carey in that high side all by himself with the damage on that race car. He did not stop in his box. Based on what I'm seeing here, I think he may have come down pit road. But yeah, not exactly sure what's going on with the 21, but 23rd position right now, not where he wants to be 20 laps into this race.
That was like the quickest I've ever seen a field get single file at a speedway. Like, that was ridiculously quick. Normally it takes about a lap or 2 because you can race side by side for a little bit getting up to speed. That was just like, yeah, no, we know the outside line's not really working right now. We're just going to go down low, and that's exactly what they did.
Yeah, it's pretty much single file up here. We do see, I think that's Josiah Vincent. Robert Gilmore jumps to the high side. Timmy Emanuele up there. But then it's already 2 seconds back to this second pack, and these guys are racing it up pretty good, especially towards the very tail end of the field. We see Zach Smith, Justin Carey, Nick Starling, those guys all up there on the high side, maybe just trying to have some fun and see what they can do up there without any real implications being so far in the pack. It's going to be 3 wide here with Cody Adkins for a moment. Probably not where Cody wants to be all the way this far back in the field, not really running for anything at this point. But they settle it out now, 2 wide once again. And at the front, we do see that high line maybe starting to develop. Eric Hutton has some help from AJ Servato, Jeremiah Vincent, and Timmy Emanuele up there. So 4 cars versus, 8 cars down low. But they're making some progress.
Up pretty well right now. Yeah, they are making a little bit of progress. I was honestly surprised not to see that 4-car jump up, as I know they work together as well with all those drivers basically on the top line right now. So he might fall to the end of it and try to give everyone else a big push. But right now that outside line making good momentum, and before possibly checking up to maybe let those 3 cars in, the 9, the 48, and the 77, as the 48 and the 77, and now the 9 car are all clear. So gain a spot here and there, and you'll eventually find your way up front.
Yeah, and they ditched Timmy Emanuele, who was up there with them. He was left all by himself, hung out to dry, and he's going to fall in behind Josiah right now in at 10th position. The only drivers behind him in this lead group, Safe Ferris and Dennis Faircloth. Dennis just hanging out back here. He had a second place finish at Talladega earlier this season. Still looking for that first win on the year, and he's had a couple runner-ups, but this is a good opportunity today to maybe grab one and spoil these guys up there running for the championship. Keith Mato out in front. He's doing what Ryan Gemmel did in stage 1. And he's burning the most fuel, so I would maybe be concerned about the 36 making it if they are going to be close on gas. But you know, I think they'll be all right. It's tough to say. I know last night at iRacing Superspeedway, the fuel strategy and all kinds of stuff just kept getting thrown right out the window as soon as I thought I had it figured out. So I don't want to make assumptions too soon, I think.
Last night I was 50% throttle for a good chunk of the race, trying to save enough gas. So, and then towards the end, I only had about a lap and a half remaining of fuel. So, I don't think they're going to be saving to that extent tonight. But you could see Keith possibly laying off the gas on the straightaways a little bit just to try and save some gas. But being out in front is not the spot you want to be in to save gas.
Yeah, he's in the worst position to do so, and another driver in a similar position would be Jordan Brackell in 13th, but he pitted actually during the caution, so he should be good to go, along with pretty much every driver back here. The only one that didn't stop in this second pack is Robert Gilmore, the number 40 car for Simulators Anonymous. Again, those guys sponsoring the race. You can check them out, simulatorsanonymous.com, to learn more about what they do. They've got a great community of gamers and sim players. They play all kinds of simulators like American Trucking Simulator, iRacing. They do, I think, some GTA RP and stuff like that. So pretty diverse community, and it looks like they have a lot of fun over there. So check them out, the sponsor of tonight's race, Simulators Anonymous. I know we've got a few fans in chat also rooting for those guys, and a little update on those drivers. We got Eric Lambert up here in 5th, running in this lead group, having a great race so far. And then you've got Robert Gilmore back there in the 21st position. As now we've got a high line developing up here. Seth Hatchell jumps up to block Eric Hutton, but not able to get in the way, as Hutton's going to get to the outside. He might even be able to clear Hatchell. We'll see if he's able to drop in line or if he's going to stay with AJ.
I was just about to say it's only a matter of moments before those 4 drivers pull out and try to make a charge towards the front. They were kind of lagging back, trying to build up a run and test out what they could do. And the only thing that might have been stopping them, I saw that 3 peaking high a couple of times, so they probably didn't want to go with the 3 car. And even still, after timing it and whatnot, they're struggling getting around cars. They haven't made up one position. They're actually about to lose a spot to the 44 is safe.
Yeah, they were all the way up alongside the 8 machine. They were actually past Hatchell, but the inside is grouped back up a bit better, and they've found their momentum once again. And some drivers like Dennis Faircloth and Timmy Emanuele might even be able to slip on past these guys, and that would be a little bit of revenge for the 39 who got hung out to dry by those drivers, as he is now side drafting the 77 a little bit. And yeah, that outside run did not work as this inside group got really hooked up. And they're going to fall back in line, single file. Only a few more laps to go in this stage. They're going to have to figure it out.
Yeah, they're going to make another run towards the outside. That 99 is getting awfully close to that 77, though, coming off that yellow line. That's not something you want to be doing if you're looking to make a move on the outside. Those guys coming up that high. I know that normally side draft comes from the outside line as the 99 makes a run to the or the 39. I'm sorry about that. The 39 car of Timmy trying to now lead that outside group, but he's gotten very close to wrecking the 77.
Yeah, he was very aggressive with the side draft there, and he was able to, I think, communicate what he was trying to say. Like, you guys left me out to dry. I want to be a part of this, and he's even trying to help him out right now, I think, by pulling him along and getting more cars in that high groove, but getting a bit scattered out. Now he's all by himself once again. We did see a car come on pit road. That was Jordan Scheffler who just stopped for fuel. It appears a 6.6 second stop, but he's going to go a lap down, and right now the only driver 1 lap down as we get the 1 to go.
Ooh, and the 80 almost does the same thing what the 39 was doing to everyone else, as they are 3 wide across the line.
And this is the best case scenario for Eric Hutton, who hasn't really been able to get the outside line to work. He just got another spot by Dennis Faircloth jumping up out of the bottom row. And these two now hit the back of this lead group, just side by side and not making any progress. But Hutton has not been able to make the move to the outside, but we see these top 4 all trying to make a move. Gemmel goes to the outside. He's got no help right now, though, as here comes Hatchell. Maybe they can mount a charge, but Mayato with a pretty good advantage. Now Hutton jumps to the outside of Safe Ferris, and he's going to jump to the outside of Hatchell. 3 wide through the tri-oval. It is not working for Gemmel and Hatchell. They got slowed up there, and Eric Lambert actually finished 3rd, but Mayato wins the stage. What a battle to the line there. That was craziness again, but they kept it green.
Yeah, that was very good driving there by them, and Keith very impressive with the blocking there. He knew that if he doesn't block, he's a sitting duck coming off of that next turn 4, basically, and he blocked the run going into turn 3. I think a little early, honestly, on Ryan's part to try and make a move to the outside, maybe trying to fake him out to the inside, but ends up getting hung out to dry as the 37 just kind of got to his inside off of not being able to do the exact same thing he was, and resulted in another Keith Mayato stage win. Looking good for him.
Yeah, and Eric Hutton going into the 3rd groove again. That's he's definitely willing to take chances, and it really helped him out there. As the stage results, it was Mayato, Samard, Lambert, Gemmel, Hutton, Hatchell, Stravato, Safe Ferris, Jeremiah Vincent, and Josiah Vincent, the top 10, as they make their way around here trying to catch up to that pace car. We are going to take a quick commercial break to hear from our sponsor tonight, as well as some of the other sponsors of the Below the Double Yellow Cup series. We will be right back.
Simulators Anonymous is an online gaming community. The heart of this community is playing simulator-style games, everything from driving, farming, flying, to the occasional survival game. We would love for you to join us. If you play these style of games, or if you're just looking for a great community, we strive to be a community you can be an active participant in by offering events like every 3rd Saturday night is a late night trucking on Truckers MP. We have a very own Minecraft server with other servers starting soon. Come join Simulators Anonymous today at www.simulatorsanonymous.com.
Boston Web Marketing is New England's largest full-service web marketing company specializing in SEO, SEM, website design, social media management, reputation management, and more. Founded in 2009, we have rapidly expanded and are able to service small to large clients nationally as well as worldwide. We are a long-standing Google partner with a large team of SEO specialists, certified AdWords professionals, web designers, social media experts, and web marketing gurus. Our team provides excellent, knowledgeable, and highly effective web marketing services. Contact us today to get started. 617-676-8109. www.getfoundquick.com.
Hey, honey.
It's happening. The baby's coming.
Okay, I'm on the way.
Hey, buddy. You ready for the big game?
You're gonna be there, right, Dad?
You can count on me. I wouldn't miss it for the world.
Hey, honey. Josh's flight landed early. He'll be here about 6:30. Can you make it?
Okay. I'm on my way.
We've got total gridlock out there this afternoon.
The average American spends over 40 hours a year, nearly 2 full days, stuck in traffic on our broken roads and bridges, while our lives move full speed ahead. It doesn't have to be this way.
Where is he?
Husband's on his way.
It's time for Washington to get America moving again by finally funding our country's infrastructure.
Where's Mom?
Tell Washington to fund America's infrastructure, because life won't wait.
V-Speed is proud to be partnered with Below the Double Yellow podcast, a podcast for NASCAR fans by NASCAR fans. Listen to Nick and Joe discuss all the latest on-track action, available on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. V-Speed is also proud to present the 2021 Below the Double Yellow Cup Series, brought to you by the American Trucking Association, starting January 14th, 8:25 p.m. Eastern Time, Thursdays at twitch.tv/VSpeedSim. Welcome back to the racetrack here for the Simulators Anonymous 200 from Talladega Superspeedway. First 2 stages complete. We're into the last stage and going to see who makes their way into the final 4 in the championship. Right now, Eric Hutton and AJ Stravato restarting at the front of the field. 2-tire strategy for those guys, as well as Jeremiah Vincent. And also Brett Sommers taking 2. He'll restart in the 5th position, breaking up the V-Speed party at the front of the field. And Hutton leading his first real laps of the race, and also putting himself in potentially a race-winning position, which is what he's going to need to advance here tonight.
I definitely think 2 tires was the right call there, as you do get out and into the lead, and you've seen the leader basically stay up front this whole time. And this stage will be a little bit different, as we will have green flag pit stops as long if it goes green. So a little bit different strategy than before, but I do think 2 tires was a good call there.
Yeah, it'll be a little bit more than 55 laps to the end, and we were talking about it under the yellow flag, and it's probably going to be split right down the middle. I think 45 laps to the end, not 55. I got my math all mixed up these last couple nights.
Last night was 90, tonight's 80, so it's
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I messed up. I second-guessed myself on some math last night, and I was right the first time, and I was very wrong the second time. But this evening, yeah, we might see pits open up around lap 55, so yeah, in about 20 laps they may come down and kind of run it to the end from there. 2 tires versus 4 tires. I think you may just go fuel only, maybe 2 tires during the green flag cycle, but we'll have to see if they even make it to a green flag pit stop, or if they get to reckon before then. But Eric Hutton, AJ Stravato on the front row. Want to get us going here, Zach?
Yeah, sure. As they come rolling to the Geico restart zone here in a second. And green flag is out. Eric Hutton with a good run, timed well. 48 should be dropping down inside below that 77. Keith Mayato will be hung out on the outside to dry as of now. 7 car looking to close that gap and maybe keep that 36 car on the outside.
Yeah, Mayato doing a good job with the side draft on the 9 machine, but I think Jeremiah might be doing this strategically, hanging right alongside as Brett Sommers closes that gap up. Mayato's going to have to figure something out up here, but he is working the side draft pretty well. Here comes Samard, maybe Safe Ferez. Safe doesn't really know where to go. And Seth Hatchell all the way back in 13th. He did not have a good exchange on pit road, and he lost a lot of spots. But he's going to be fighting to make that all up here. We still have kind of a separation between a lead group and a secondary group. So I'm a little bit interested to see that in this 3rd stage. You'd think people would want to get into contention, you know, around the halfway point. You'd want to be within striking distance if anything was to happen. But yeah, they're pretty spread out right now. The second half of the field is way back there, all the way back about 4.5 seconds to Jordan Brackell.
So I'm not quite sure why they're trying to hang so far back as they've seen how the racing has been so far. And honestly, they're racing way more aggressive in the back as the 20. I don't know what car number that
Dennis
was, but
Steele,
gets
yeah.
sideways. Yeah, gets sideways, goes into the grass, but saves it. So the back pack racing more aggressive than the front pack. It's not too often you see that, honestly.
Yeah, Dennis, a good job hanging on to that race car. It was 4 wide as he almost brought it back up on the banking, but able to slow it up. He's going to lose the draft, I think, because of that. He does have Jordan Brackell and Justin Carey in front of him. They might be able to lay back a little bit and help him out. But yeah, that back group, they've been testing things out, I think, all race, and this time it finally bit them. The 28 getting really squirrely there and breaking things up even more. But we've got a second groove forming here in the lead pack again, and this time the V-Speed drivers up high minus Ryan Gemmel, but Ryan might even jump up there, and here he does through 3 and 4. And that is going to fragment the inside line as Eric Lambert has some catching up to do to get behind Brett Sommers. And about 6 cars up high, that's the most we've seen.
And one thing I noticed earlier when Keith was side drafting, if you side draft the car in front of you, it doesn't necessarily make you go faster, it just slows down the car to your inside. And that, again, that's going to be the only way this outside line can get anything going, is if they side draft hard and get some good runs by kind of breaking up the inside line. That's the only way it's going to get done. And you can see they're losing ground again to that inside line, and will probably have to fall back in line shortly if they can't get anything going.
Yeah, a little checkup up there on the high side, and they definitely lost a bit of momentum headed into turn number 3. Cody Adkins down there on the inside, up here in the lead group. Cody had that issue early on with the rear end damage. They've gotten most of it repaired, and he's back up here in contention. But it's interesting, a lot of the usual suspects up front, and there are a few guys here that we're not used to seeing run up in the top 10 that often. You know, like you said, you see some different people up here at these plate races or these super speedways, as Brett Sommers jumps to the outside, kind of checks up that group. But a few like Eric Lambert, we're used to seeing him actually run in the top 5 a lot at these super speedways. Seems to be a real strength of his.
We do see the 3-car jump onto that outside line. It's very interesting. Every time a car kind of jumps up high, it stacks up that line and they slow down and get spread out a little bit. And then the thing that happens is that if you don't side draft those cars with that big gap, they get a huge run on the inside because they have so much room to draft, and they don't have to worry about checking up for anyone in front of them, as you see the 81 car there do just now. And now you see the 3 and a 7 fall back as everyone else goes single file.
Yeah, I think it's really about timing when you make that move to the high side. The problem I saw there with those last few moves was they jumped up to the high side in the middle of the corner, and I think you really need to do it on the straightaway to reduce that checkup. As you see Dennis Faircloth, he actually jumps out there, gets out of the way. Losing some ground, he'll fall to the back of this pack, I think. And let's see if there's... Yeah, the second group is 3 seconds, over 3.5 seconds back, actually, from Dennis Faircloth. Zach Smith leading a 5-car pack. I just don't know why they're hanging so far back. I guess they're expecting a wreck, but just has not...
Part of it was not wanting to be this far back. I think they were trying to hang a little bit back, but after what happened with that 28 car, Dennis Steele a little bit earlier, it kind of forced them to check up and lose momentum, and now they're definitely out of the draft. They're not going to be able to catch up with this lead group that's single file.
Yeah, the lead group now actually going double wide. We saw Keith Mayato, Ryan Gemmel, and Chris Samard, Seth Hatchell, the V-Speed cars all group up in the outside lane. And it's such an interesting dilemma because all those guys are fighting for these final 2 spots. And you really, you know, as teammates, you want to help each other out as much as possible. But man, it's gonna be more take and less give here as we get closer and closer to the end. But right now they're working together, trying to make that outside groove work. And they're actually making some good progress, closing in on Jeremiah Vincent there in the 3rd position. Jeremiah kind of right in between the grooves, maybe trying to slow him up a little bit. But now 5-6 cars up in that high line, maybe starting to get a bit more organized. You see Timmy Emanuele, oh, contact between the 39 and the 3. And that was close. I saw the 39 actually come up off the ground with the way the impact physics worked there. Go back and take a look at that. Oh, it was actually Eric Lambert who came up off the ground a little bit. So that was a pretty decent hit. Timmy cut off the 3 of Eric Lambert. Able to continue onwards, and that high line's still working. Jeremiah Vincent's lost touch with those top 2, getting side drafted by Ryan Gemmel.
Yeah, that inside line got very, very separated, as you see the 9 and the 81 now, as they're starting to bunch up again now. But the outside line finally making some progress as a big bump from the 9 car forces the 48 to bump into the 77. But again, this outside line looking good, but are they going to have enough to make a run for the lead as they're now falling back again? I think the 6 and 36 could have dropped low when they had the chance, honestly.
Yeah, it looked like the 39 of Timmy Emanuele got really loose in the last set of corners, and he actually slid up, and it might have slowed up Chris Samard and Seth Hatchell and some others up there. Got really, really tight in the middle of the corner. And you can see it again. He's working a little side draft down there, I think. I think that's intentional. Hard to say.
I hope so. I hope it's intentional.
Yeah. And as this lead group races it up, the second pack is closing. They were 3.7 back from Dennis Faircloth, and now that gap just 3 seconds. So they are maintaining, if not gaining, a little bit. The last couple laps they've been a little bit slower. But before that, they were doing a really good job of actually making up 2-3 tenths a lap. Let's see what the times are at the line this time, as Hutton with a 48.82. And then it will be Zach Smith leading that second group. He ran a 49 flat, so not gaining that time around. It looks like the 71 of Sulfridge kind of laying off of these 4. And that is that's not helping them move forward at all.
And I'm telling you, that 39 car is going to cause a wreck once that outside line starts pinching more and really trying to make a run towards the end of this race. That 39 car will end up causing a wreck by coming off that yellow so much as he has been.
Yeah, he's running about a half groove or a whole groove up compared to the rest of the cars on the inside line. Cody Adkins right there in front of him. Usually you're kind of basing your entry into a corner off that car in front. It's hard to see over these big spoilers. This time, yeah, he rides a little bit lower right in the wake of that 81, but maybe trying to cool the car. I don't really know. He was moving around quite a bit in the turns though, so we'll see what Timmy's up to as we get closer and closer to the end of this, if he's just trying to fight for every position he can, or what he's doing down there. But Eric Hutton out in front, doing exactly what he has to do, as he and AJ Servato have taken control of this race. And the V-Speed...
the tables have certainly turned this final stage. The first stage we saw Team V-Speed doing what Team VMS and LDR are doing right now, and it's very interesting that now that Team V-Speed has to do literally what like Jeremiah Vincent and all of them have been doing the whole race. So they're kind of learning for themselves what it feels like to be stuck on that outside line.
Yeah, I think it could come down to pit strategy. These V-Speed drivers, oh, big checkup right there as the 36 got into the 6 of Ryan Gemmel. But maybe could make some progress with a pit strategy call. If you come in later, you might have to take less fuel, or maybe if you come in earlier, you take less fuel. I don't really know, what the decision's going to be right there. So we'll see what these guys decide. But yeah, these V-Speed drivers not making progress right now in the back half of this lead group. And trying to keep track of that second pack. They're still about 3 seconds behind. Say Farah is now the last car in the front group. 2.8 seconds right now. Back to Zach Smith. But they are not staying single file back there right now. That's not what you want to do. They got really snaky down the backstretch. It seemed like they didn't know which line they wanted to go into. But Josiah Vincent back here, he was a driver up towards the front. and right now out of contention to win this.
Yeah, he unfortunately got shuffled back on that restart and hasn't been able to catch up since. And it's unfortunate because I'm sure his 3 other teammates up front would love to have a fourth car. But I really think 3 cars is the ideal amount when it comes to being by yourselves. 2, you don't have enough draft. 3, you finally get to where you can be up to speed and not lose time. And it's interesting. You can see a 3-car tandem happen, and they'll be just as fast as a 6-car. It's just a matter of honestly how steady these drivers can be and how good of a push they can get without getting wobbly.
Yeah, it's the V-Speed drivers making progress up high, but it seems this is about as far as they can get, right alongside the 39 or the 81, and then they just start to fade again. It's really hard to push that hard for lap after lap. The engine starts overheating, you start getting a little bit loose or off center, and things can go downhill really quickly if you're not careful, as they are starting to lose momentum again. Here comes Eric Lambert back to the inside, working with Brett Sommers, Dennis Faircloth down there. And yeah,
honestly, if I was Team V-Speed right now, I would kind of almost give up on that outside lane and try to just fall in on the inside where you can and start thinking about pitting here in a little bit. That's going to honestly be the only way. That's going to decide what this race is going. Who's going to win this race right now is who gets in and out of the pits quickest and most together. If you can get in and out all together with no hiccups, you will make up a lot of time. I don't think the tires are really going to have much to do with it. I don't think the fuels are going to have much to do with it. It's a matter of how quick you get into the pits and how quick out you get out of the pits and how quick you get back into the draft. And if you do not communicate that well, there are a lot of times you see mishaps on the pit road, people running into the back. And I would definitely think that there's some talking going on in these team channels right now about when they're pitting, as the pit window will be opening up in a little bit.
Yeah, probably about 5 more laps and we'll see drivers start to make the turn on the pit lane. And yeah, I think it's about a 13-car race for the win at the moment. Everybody else just too far behind. Nick Starling leading the second pack now, still 3 seconds back. And then there's a third group that's another 7 seconds back or so, with Jordan Brackel, Kyle Payne, Justin Carey, Zach Smith, Jordan Scheffler, and all of those guys. So they're not in contention to win. They're hoping for a yellow. And they are side drafting pretty hard right now through turns 1 and 2. Timmy Emanuele down low, Ryan Gemmel up high, and they are still able to continue on. But yeah, they're just not making a lot of progress. That high groove either needs somebody from the inside to jump up. You know, one of those first 3 or 4 cars needs to jump up to the high side. Then they may have an opportunity to close. But it's pretty tough mudding up there right now.
I just don't think the outside line's side drafting hard enough. If those first 2 drivers side draft hard enough, I think they can stall the inside line enough to where they can then get a run. But it is kind of a risk versus reward at this point. How hard do you want to side draft to make up a couple of spots right now? And the reward doesn't outweigh the risk basically at this point in the race.
Yeah, still so much time left. You can really start making some of those moves late in the going. And you don't have to do them right now. We do see a lap car up in front. I think that's the 28 of Dennis Steele. Yeah, all by himself. He was the one who saved it a little bit earlier, but has since fallen well off the pace. And right now, 46 seconds behind the leaders. In danger of losing a lap. Only one driver off the lead lap right now. That is Jordan Scheffler back here in this third group of cars. About 11 seconds off the lead. But pretty good job. No accidents, right? So no really heavily damaged race cars. Just minor damage on a few.
I was just about to ask you. Obviously, this race isn't over yet. But would you have thought coming into this week, having 2 super speedways on the broadcast this week, that there would be no natural cautions in either of the races?
Yeah, I mean, this one's not over yet. I think we might see one before it's all said and done. Even right now, they're racing pretty hard with Timmy Emanuele and Ryan Gemmel, those guys continue to get close. But yeah, I mean, last night we had some wrecks, right? They just weren't big enough, or cars didn't go all the way around in the racing groove to bring out a natural yellow flag. So I was a bit surprised because you're going so fast at that place at iRacing Superspeedway. But tonight, a little bigger field and a lot more on the line for some of these guys. I think this surprises me even more.
Yeah, it surprises. I was really thinking there would be some wrecks, but I guess it's a point of people just being cautionary and trying to make it to the end, as they know there's an end goal in mind, and wrecking on lap 10 or lap 20 isn't gonna let them achieve that goal.
Yeah, you got to make it to the checkered flag if you want to have any shot to win the race. And right now, look at this, the top three pulling away. The high side has made some progress now alongside Cody Adkins, but this is about as far as we've seen them get in the last 10 laps or so. Oh, and the 39 drifting up the track. That was very close. He almost got into Keith Mayato, and that may have slowed them down just a little bit on the high side.
Yeah, they were starting to get a really good run on the outside. They were side drafting very well, getting a lot closer to those cars on the inside, and the 81 and the 39 of Timmy came up and killed the momentum that the outside line had. It's a very sensitive line, as it appears to be.
Yeah, you've got to run it almost perfectly to make up any time, and every little hiccup from the inside line that affects the outside really slows you down. We did see Dennis Steele got out of the way of the race leader, so that was very respectful of him. Obviously, at the tail end of the lead lap, he did bring it down pit lane 2 laps ago, so he got some service completed on that car. Looks like he'll go to the end, and now he's actually back out in front of these leaders, along with another car. That looks like Dallas Sullivan, who was on the tail end of the lead lap. Not sure what happened to Dallas, but he does have rear end damage.
Pit window is open as well. I believe if they pit now, they would be able to make it to the end. And no takers yet, so we're looking for, obviously I imagine that the top 3 will pit at the same time, and Team V-Speed will try to pit at the same time. But right now, if Team V-Speed wants to pit, they're gonna have to get down to the inside line, because you can't pit from the outside. It doesn't work.
Nope.
Try to make it work, but it doesn't work. There's cars there, so
Yeah.
we'll be looking for people to shuffle through and kind of get filtered out to make their green flag pit stops.
Yeah, and here's Dennis Steele again. This would be to go 2 laps down. He'll get one of them back when the leaders do decide to pit, but he'll be at least 1 lap down no matter what. And Dallas Sullivan did get lapped. He's currently the lucky dog in case anything happens, but no takers this time on the pit road among the lead group. Let's take a look a little farther back. Any of these second pack drivers who have started to mount a charge, they're only 2 seconds behind. So we could have another 5 cars in the running for this race.
And as you go on to look at the second group, the first group is getting a good run on the outside, and you do see 1 car, the 44, a safe drop to the inside. So I imagine that the 6 might be following suit soon, as I think they are going to be pitting here soon.
Yeah, I think they're trying to figure it out. There's big gaps down there in that inside line. I think Safe trying to leave some room for the V-Speed drivers. We did get a comment here on YouTube asking where Happy Gilmore is at. Number 40, Mr. Gilmore in the 20th position. They're starting in 15th. Oh, and he makes contact with Kyle Payne right as we're looking at him. Caution flying. What about that timing? Oh my gosh. Everybody seems to be able to drive away. I think Kyle Payne coming away with the most damage on that one. Possibly. I'll have to go back and look. Or maybe it was Justin Carey. I think Justin with heavy damage to the nose of that race car. But caution flying. The 20 laps to go, and this is going to shake things up for sure.
Yeah, that 40 car of Mr. Happy Gilmore, Robert, bumping through that. He was pushing very hard through the turn and ended up turning the 68. It's funny how a lot of times how the further back you go, the more aggressive drivers get, which is weird. You think they would try to be, you know, trying to keep it straight, but hey, maybe there was a little collusion going on there. Maybe a little, hey, is your arm itching kind of action going on. I don't think any of them are associated with any of the people up front, but definitely an interesting caution at this point in the race.
Yeah, that is crazy. Lyle Sulfridge took a huge hit as well, so he's going to be in big trouble to finish this race. He might have even blown the engine, I'm not sure. But both the 70 and the 21 with hard hits to the nose of their race cars, and yeah, just an unusual caution so deep in the field. It looked like Robert just got off center, kind of got shoved down to the bottom and hooked the 68. So Kyle, I know, not going to be too happy about that one. He has had some bad luck in both the Cup Series and the Xfinity Series, and that's going to continue here tonight at Talladega.
It's money stop time, boys. This is where you really want your pit crew to pull out something big and hopefully gain you a couple spots. And that Team V-Speed is going to be hoping to break up the top three right now, because they were leading that whole way. No tire strategies, possibly. I would imagine there'd be no tires.
Hutton with a
Eric
13.2. And yeah, not a lot of pit strategy. It looks like 4 tires for a lot of these drivers, which surprises me. But Cody Atkins, 2 tires. He's actually going to win the battle off pit road. 9.4 seconds in the box. And the Lucas Oil number 81 out in front here with not a lot of time remaining.
Not sure if you saw, but right before they were coming to pit road, the whole field came to a stop because the pace car was so slow. And that you got to pay attention to that sometimes, because if that pace car's behind you and you go down pit road, you're going to get a black flag for passing under the yellow.
Yeah, and I don't think they'll clear that in this league. So definitely have to be aware of all of that. And I did see that deep in the field they were stopped, but by the time I got back to the front cars, they were already moving forward. But Cody Atkins running his Memorial Day scheme for the second race in a row. And he has the lead here with less than 20 laps. You see Dennis Steele actually going to get a wave around, it appears. But that caution did not follow necessarily how he wanted it to. He might have been able to get a lucky dog if things had fallen a little bit differently. But everybody should be able to make it to the end, so it's you've got what you've got. You got to take it to the front at this point.
Yeah, this is it now. This is the final run of the race, and what you get is what you get, like you mentioned. I'm not too sure who's the winner and loser off of that caution, honestly, because honestly, whoever the winner would have been who could have messed up their pit stop. So I guess you would consider the leaders the winner there, because they don't have to worry about making a pit stop and they're still out in front. But just kind of a buzzkill. I was looking forward to those green flag pit stops, because that would have shaken up things for sure.
It definitely would have made it more interesting, or maybe a little bit more of a natural finish. This is going to be everybody just pushing as hard as they can. I think we may see 1 or 2 more cautions now that they're going to be really going for it, and it's going to be about surviving. And yeah, I think the biggest loser on that cycle was Chris Samard, possibly. He's all the way back in 9th, and the last of the V-Speed drivers, but he does have the inside groove to his advantage, so that is something that 2 of his teammates don't have. But this brings everybody back into the fold as well. We'll have 23 cars in the lead group. And
yeah, I'm not looking for them to get a single file as quickly this time, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, I think they'll try and stay double file probably the rest of the race. We'll see, maybe even 3 wide within the next 10 laps, starting to make moves towards the front. You're going to have to develop those runs, earlier with the way this drafting package is. And right now, with Cody Atkins being in the lead, this kind of breaks up that LDR party with Eric Hutton and AJ Servato being nose to tail. Right now, Eric's second. He'll be on the outside. We'll see what Cody does to try and, spoil that. We'll see if AJ slows up or what happens here to let the 77 in. But some decisions to be made by these drivers here on this restart.
Yeah, AJ's going to be either jumping high right on the restart or letting the 77 and the 9 come down low, because the only problem is that the 6 is behind AJ, and if they don't execute perfectly here on the restart, they could lose spots and Ryan will be up in the lead, or up in second at least. So it's going to be interesting. Do they play it safe and everyone drops down to the bottom, or do they play it risky and jump up high?
And it looks like the 48 maybe hanging back just a little bit here. And you can't change lanes before you get to the start-finish line. They're being a lot more strict with that here in this league over the last few weeks. So Cody Adkins in control of the restart. And he's going to get us going pretty early, and there is a bit of a gap behind him. That's going to open the door for Eric Hutton to drop down. As they cross the start-finish line, he will, and here comes Keith Mayato now to the inside. He'll get down underneath Jeremiah Vincent, so that was best-case scenario for Mayato. He'll move up to 4th, and in front of his teammates, Ryan Gemmel and Seth Hatchell. And the winner of stage 1 and 2, trying to get back to the front here in stage number 3. But a little farther back, I mean, they have single-filed out. They already single file, except for Josiah Vincent back in 14th and 15th with Dennis Faircloth back here. And you do see Chris Samard, I think, peeking to the outside, trying to find somewhere to go, but he drops in line as well into the 9th position. And now he'll try and swing it back up high, but no help up there just yet. And he actually opened the door for Brett Sommers to get in underneath, but Chris working the side draft nicely into turn number 1. He made up some ground going into that corner.
I think as things stand right now, Keith would be advancing into the playoffs if Cody ends up winning the race as things stand, because of those 2 stage wins. So I think Eric is in a must-win position at this point due to the Keith winning those first 2 stages.
Yeah, as they run, it's definitely going to be close. Ryan could still be in. Potentially. He had some good finishes in the stages. I don't know how tight it's going to be. Here goes Mayato looking to the outside. He'll bring Gemmel with him and Hatchell. Those 3 going to go nose to tail. They're going to have to make it work. Hutton down low. Not close enough to give any help to the 81. They're not really all that synced up. Mayato might be able to take the lead. He's at the front right now. Big push from Ryan Gemmel. Gemmel can't quite clear the 81. Does Mayato bring it down to the low line? He will, abandoning his teammates. But I don't blame him whatsoever. That is the move that had to be made. With 15 laps to go, Mayato back to the lead of the inside groove. And again, best case scenario for the 36.
Yeah, it was a very well-timed move to the outside line, and 36 saying we need at least one person up in the lead. Honestly, the leader is sitting prettiest in this race, in my opinion, other than possibly the last lap. And that was timed perfectly, and I honestly heard the 48 car get on the radio and say, what are you supposed to do when you're teamed up against 8 people? So a little bit of saltiness there about it's a part of racing, unfortunately, but hopefully the other team can get something going here and make this race interesting.
I don't know if it's quite almost a wreck right there, as Gemmel almost got hooked off the nose of his teammate Seth Hatchell. And you got Chris Samard right there, Nick Starling, Safe Ferris, Dennis Faircloth dives down to the inside line. He'll get out of that high groove, but they just lost a ton of momentum, and Hatchell and Gemmel both dropped to the inside. Not in a good position right now. Back here in 9th and 10th, they're going to have to find something to get their way back up to the front.
Now we see that 3-team trio of the 77, 48, and 9 linked together again. And 3-on-2, maybe they'll be able to make a run to the outside, but right now I think they should kind of just ride for a little bit. Being in 3rd, 4th, and 5th, they can time their run a little bit later than if they were further back.
Yeah, and Keith with no teammates up here in this lead a little bit, because Cody is not a teammate. I mean, he's going for the win. I know Cody wants to win as much as anybody. He's had some really good runs, spoiled in some of these races, and really has shown a lot of improvement over this season. So an opportunity to win you don't get every single week, and he's got one here tonight. Very quick car, and he's done a good job hanging up here in the top 2 since the restart. As here comes Gemmel back to the high side. Jeremiah Vincent tried to throw the block, just shoved those guys up the racetrack, but wasn't able to get in front of the 6. And now it's just 2 teammates here with Gemmel and Simard, and you can see Jeremiah definitely trying to push these guys up the racetrack. He's doing the side drafting, and here comes Eric Hutton and AJ Stravato. They jump to the high side. Mayato throws the block, and he might get hung out to dry in the middle. But contact between.
And they save it.
Oh my goodness, what a save! And they're wrecking now.
Not anymore. Oh man.
Oh.
There's the big one. Not too big, but still big.
Man, that was an incredible piece of driving by AJ Stravato to save that. Unfortunately, Simard involved in this one. That could end his championship hopes. Well, let's go take a look at how this all developed. It was 3 wide there with Gemmel shooting the gap, I think. Trying to figure out how this all started. Taking a look at the 6 car. He got a really good run. Went to the inside of Stravato, and they made contact, and then they checked up from there, and Nick Starling got into the back of Chris Simard, and around Simard went. Let me get another view of this one. Yeah, kind of almost exactly what Gemmel did to AJ, but even harder contact, and then, yeah, Simard had pretty much saved it, and a few drivers involved, like Eric Lambert, Brett Sommers, Josiah Vincent, Timmy Emanuele involved in this one, Zach Smith. But definitely a big wreck. Go on board here with Zach Smith. What he saw out the front of that car. Went to the bottom and mostly avoided it. But that is unfortunate for some of those guys who maybe had a good opportunity to win tonight's race.
Yeah, very, very unfortunate, and honestly, it wasn't like the middle line checked up too much because they were further back, so all I know is after that wreck, some of these drivers are going to need a new set of Pampers for sure. So yeah. I know AJ and Ryan especially, they were definitely scared there because Ryan saw what happened and knew his race is over if AJ's turned.
That's an incredible save by the 48. I'm gonna try and get another view of that one because yeah, he was driving that thing through that slide. It was just a quick slide, but you just don't expect that car to stay straight once it gets turned like that at 200 miles an hour down into the banking. It's unusual to see those kinds of saves, so what a piece of driving there. And his race will continue, and Eric Hutton ends up with the race lead.
Yeah, worked out very well for them in the end, even though it came very close to not working out.
Yeah. We actually have seen kind of similar things. Daytona in the opener. I think it was the opener, or maybe it was the second Daytona race they ran. Either way, AJ was right up there towards the front at the end of a stage, and we saw kind of a similar thing happen where they kind of checked up a little bit, or there was somebody trying to go 2-3 wide. I think it was actually Ryan and AJ who made contact there, but in that scenario, AJ did not save the race car. And his race was pretty much over at that point. That was only 15-20 laps into it. But this, a lot more on the line for his teammate at this point. And he is doing absolutely everything he can to help. You can tell that he is driving the wheels off that thing, trying to get it up to the front.
Yeah, I think Eric is sitting, honestly, in the best position right now because he does have someone right behind him who can push him. But they will be side by side on the restart, so that could play a factor, as Keith will be starting on the inside and Ryan will be right behind him, and they are both teammates. But the difference between AJ and Eric and Ryan and Keith is Ryan and Keith are still trying to make it into the last round. AJ has already clinched it, so all his main priority is literally just to help the 77 get in.
Yep. And if I was Eric, I might take the outside here, and AJ might be able to let you in. I don't really know what the strategy call is going to be. Right now, it's looking like he's going to go on the inside. But I don't know if they're going to get the one to go this time anyways. Have to see. It does appear he's going to take the inside. So this is an interesting call. I don't know how... I mean, maybe they can go at the same time and get a really good restart. But if Keith times this correctly, it may be a race-winning move to be able to get up right behind the 77 on this start.
Yeah, this will come down to if the 48 can drop in at least behind, at the very least behind the 36 and break up the 36 and the 6. But I would have taken the outside personally, because then you can kind of just say on the mic, like in your team chat, hey, I'll let you know when I'm going. Guy on the outside goes just a tad earlier than the guy on the inside, and then just drops right in front of him. And it's a little bit more difficult to communicate when you're on the inside, because now you still have to go a little earlier, but you gotta hope that the 36 car doesn't get a good enough run on that restart. So playing a very dangerous game here, and hopefully it works out for them.
Yeah, and you've got Cody Adkins still up here in the mix. He'll restart 4th. You've got Nick Starling, who was involved in that last one. No damage really to that car, though. He'll restart in 6th. And Nick, definitely strong at these super speedways as well. He won at Talladega last season. And that was actually what locked him into the playoffs to start. And then he won at Kansas later in the season to lock him into the Final Four. Circumstances quite a bit different this year. He was eliminated in round 1 of the playoffs, but looking for a little bit of redemption potentially to get a win here tonight, and really you make something out of what has been a difficult season for the 99. But you know, Cody Adkins trying to do that as well. Safe Fair is always hungry, and he's got the 6 car who they had some run in last week, and he's going to try and help him out, I think. But Mayato all over the back bumper of the 77, as I'd expect. This is going to be a very key restart with what will be 9 to go to the finish. And here they go, and the 48 timed it just right. He might be able to drop in. He will get in front of Mayato. So perfectly timed restart from the leaders. And it worked out where it didn't seem like it would. But they do have a couple teammates there behind them in the 36 and the 6, and also the 44, and wrecking at the back of the field. They'll have to do it again. Josiah Vincent involved in this one. I saw Nathaniel Ostrowski, I think, possibly. There's one other car, Justin Carey, up in flames right now. So, not sure what happened. They must have stacked it up deep in the field. Let's go take a look. Oh, and Nathaniel Ostrowski gets into the 21, and Justin Carey gets hammered a few times up and through the air, barrel rolling. And his race is over. What? I don't know what the 41 was doing there exactly. Just came down alongside of him. There might have been some net code. Definitely was some net code. But he came right down into the 21. Brett Sommers gets a little piece of that one. I think everybody else pretty well able to avoid that. I don't know who hit the 21. That was Zach Smith, actually, while he was flying through the air. Very strange incident, once again, at the back of the pack.
Yeah, definitely very, very quick this time. We didn't have to wait long for that one, as I think I just heard someone blow up also. I think Justin just blew up. But I really think that after seeing how that first restart went, if Eric and AJ can do what they just did again, there's really not too much of a reason for them not to pull off a win here, especially now that the 6 car of Ryan Gemmell won't be starting right behind the 36 car. So if I was to do my credit ones to watch right now, I would pick the 77.
Yeah, and Hutton has led 33 laps tonight, so he has definitely had a strong car. Started 11th up here in the lead for 33 circuits, and right now in that top spot. I'm still thinking that it could be Mayato who could somehow get this one done. He will have Safe Ferris behind him, and Safe being essentially a teammate on the Satellite Red Speed team. He's definitely going to be pushing whoever is in front of him. The outside line, though, it'll be Ryan Gemmel and Seth Hatchell nose to tail. So there could be a few tandems here that end up working out. It's hard to say, and ultimately I think the track position advantage of the 77 could pay off, but we will have to see.
The question now is, how long are these teammates going to keep being teammates? Because time's running out, and like I said earlier, there's only 2 spots available, and you don't want to be the last driver out. So it's a matter of putting yourself ahead of your teammates at some point and fighting for the win. And the only person not in that spot is Eric, because AJ doesn't have to win.
Yeah, I think Safe also, he doesn't have to necessarily.
Safe is, yes, that's right.
Safe could push whoever he elects to. So that's going to be interesting to see who he decides to help forward. But it is really coming down to it. It'll be less than 5 laps to go by the time we take that green flag, and not going to be a lot of time to make your decisions.
If I was Safe, I'd pause. I know all these drivers are very talented and have great skill, obviously, but if I was Safe and it came down to the end of it, I might be more willing to push the 6 car to the front over the 36, just because you've seen how dominant the 36 car has been this season, and the only reason he's in the situation he is right now is because he missed a race. So it's definitely a tough situation for the 44, as he's going to have to more than likely choose a teammate to push at the end.
Yeah, it's going to be one of them, though. That is for sure making it in no matter what. It's just which one is it going to be? And man, these guys probably sweating right now trying to figure out what they're going to do. This kind of chess match that they have to play over the next 5 laps is going to be very interesting to watch. Let's do a quick recap and also just a quick run through the field. We'll probably get the 1 to go. But 5 cautions in this race. We were clean and green for a lot of it. And once the green flag pit cycles were about to happen, we got our first caution, and since then we've had 2 more. So it's been a bit messier here in the last stage. It's kind of what I expected, though. Once you get grouped up with not a lot of time left, people start going crazy. But only 5 lead changes in this race. It seems like, well, I guess really it hasn't seemed like that, right? We've had a car that's dominated at the front of the field at different sections of this race. So Eric Hutton currently in that top spot. AJ Stravato 2nd, Mayato 3rd, Gemmel 4th, Safe Ferris 5th, Seth Hatchell 6th, Cody Adkins 7th, Nick Starling 8th, Dennis Faircloth 9th, and Lane Sulfridge rounding out the top 10. Could be any of those drivers, could be anyone farther back as well. You never know at these super speedways.
Yeah, we could keep wrecking, and these drivers up front could be in the back, and the drivers in the back can be up in the front in no time. How many green white checkers are there in this league?
It is 3 attempts.
Okay.
Yeah, so
hey, we might be able to get all 3 attempts in.
Yeah, I mean, we did that at Martinsville, but I don't know. I think it won't take that many. I have a feeling we may get 1 more caution, and we might just have a green flag or green-white checkered to settle it all. But they've been pretty composed for the most part. Really, just just really aggressive driving there to cause that the first of the 3 cautions that have happened. So there's a lot on the line right now. They're going to have to push really hard, but they've done a great job most of this race.
It'll be a lot more aggressive now than it was before.
Yeah. The pushes will be harder. They'll be going faster. They'll be pushing longer, and we'll see who makes it to that checkered flag first. But pace car down onto the apron, makes the left-hand turn onto pit road. It'll be Eric Hutton, AJ Stravato, Keith Mayato, Ryan Gemmel, Safe Ferris, Seth Hatchell, the top 6. And all of these guys either locked in or fighting for a spot. And here they go. Restart by the 77. gets him going. Mayato tried to time it as well as he could, but he's still not going to be inside the 48. He'll be right on the bumper and quite a bit of distance. Ryan Gemmel's going to be able to drop down in line in front of the 44. And Seth Hatchell might be able to as well, and he will. Cody Adkins getting checked up by Safe. Nick Starling, Dennis Faircloth up on the high side still, but single file the top 6. And it's going to get interesting here. It's kind of 2 versus 4, I think, in this top 6. You've got 4 V-Speed drivers, but again, they're only going to be teammates for about 4 more laps.
I think you're going to see AJ try to fall on the sword here. Never mind, as Keith is going to go to the outside, and with it being 4-on-2, I don't really see the 77 and the 48 being able to hold off that run.
It's going to be tough for sure, as Mayato at the line, not quite in front. I think Hutton still led that lap. Yeah, Hutton by just 1,000th of a second or so, but big run by the 6 and the 36. And I don't know, Gemmel might be in the best spot possible if he can get down on the inside in front of the 77, and he will. And Hatchell now hung out to dry, and now Gemmel jumps back to the high side, going to try and work with the number 8, but no, he'll go back to the inside, and Hutton really going to push hard, I think, into turn number 3. Gemmel leaving quite a bit of space, and here they go, big push from the 48, coming to 3 laps remaining, and they've gone single file now, the top 6 or 7. Jordan Brockel up here in the mix. Where did he come from? He is up here now. It'll be a good finish for Jordan, who has not had a lot of success this season, but had, I believe, a top 5 earlier in the year at one of these super speedway races. And right now, Mayato leading his teammate Ryan Gemmel. This is such a tough... Oh man, this is a tough way to do this. But Eric Hutton might just see his chance to advance go out the window if either one of those two win. I think if Keith wins, Eric is going to be eliminated, but I'm not sure about Ryan, where he's going to end up, where all this shakes out. Big shake up right there towards the back of this lead group. Hatchell almost got involved. He is getting shuffled back now to the 10th position. And he's got the 44 behind him, coming at 2 laps to go. It's Keith Mayato, Ryan Gemmel, Eric Hutton, and AJ Stravato. And Cody Adkins. Here comes Dennis Faircloth as well. And the high line trying to get organized. They may be too far back. Too little time remaining. AJ is going to jump up to the second groove. So does Eric Hutton, and then they throw a block. Gemmel and Mayato both jump up there in front, but Eric still continuing with the momentum. Now we'll settle back in line. It'll be 1 to go. This time across the stripe. What do you think they got to do here, Zach? You think they can make a run?
If they can get those 4 cars, the 2 cars, the 80 and the 81, to work with them, I think that they'll have a chance at the end. And I know that the 6 is going to pull out of line. So if things pull out, if things work just right for them, it could work very well. But
yeah,
it's going to be difficult.
Dennis Faircloth getting shuffled out. You see Nick Starling now to the inside behind Cody Adkins. Those two good buddies, they might try and make a run at it, the 81 and the 99, but I think they're too far back, as Mayato, who swept the stages, has found his way back to the front, trying to hold off his teammate Ryan Gemmel. Gemmel looking to the outside. Here comes Hutton and AJ Stravato. They take advantage of the check up there, side by side for second. Mayato still with the advantage. It's going to come down to the straightaway here. Keith Mayato in front, trying to hold them all off. And the 36, a 4-time winner. He's going to have to hold off Eric Hutton, who's going to be pushing aggressively. Here they come towards the start-finish line. It's going to be a drag race. I think Eric Hutton got him.
Eric Hutton got it. Eric Hutton got it. Yep, he did win it. Wow.
Eric Hutton by 14 1/1000ths of a second. Able to take the win over Keith Mayato. Ryan Gemmel ended up 6th in all of that. Hatchell in 7th. It's very possible Keith still got in, even finishing runner-up. But either way, Eric Hutton wins his way into the championship finale. A clutch drive to the finish line there. What a finish. Go back and take another look at that.
That was a great finish. Like, very, very hard pushing, and that was one of the better finishes I've seen at a Talladega race.
Yeah, my auto almost held him off. I wasn't sure. It looked like the 77 was almost going to be able to hook him the way they were drafting, and then Keith tried to hold him off, just could not, with no help down there on the inside, and then they wrecked going into turn number 1 past the start-finish line. But Eric Hutton doing exactly what he needed to do. Taking the win here tonight at Talladega. What a drive by the number 77 to lock himself into that championship finale with a shot to win next week at Phoenix. A driver who had
that little bump at the end is what gave it to him.
A little side draft bump there.
Yeah, he barely door slammed the 36 there, just enough to slow him down, and I think that gave him the edge. I think if he doesn't hit the 36 there, he doesn't get around him.
Yeah, either way, it was going to be extremely close no matter what, and Hutton taking the victory, leading 38 laps on the way. We'll be right back after a quick commercial break.
Welcome to V-Speed, your home for sim racing excitement, providing dramatic moments from iRacing and beyond. We offer broadcasting for leagues across iRacing, with specialized packages to help grow your league and advertise your sponsors.
Shot at it, I think, and right now Stravato with that advantage. It's half a car length the difference between first and second going into turn 1. He gives the bumper to Connor Horn.
These two have gone all year to get to this point. Jacob Shorba drifting up the racetrack. They make contact. The 88 goes around. The 95 goes around. The 12 caught in it.
Our design team can help you create anything from paint schemes to sim rig parts with expertise in both 2D and 3D design with 3D printing capabilities. Looking to get into broadcasting yourself? We can help you design and operate custom overlays to make your stream look as professional as possible. Our team can create and manage custom merchandise sales for you and your team. Check out our shop to see what we have in stock and how we can create some awesome merch for you. Check out our race replays on YouTube or catch us live weekly on Twitch. Visit us at vspeedsim.com to see how we can help you on your iRacing journey.
Simulators Anonymous is an online gaming community. The heart of this community is playing simulator-style games, everything from driving, farming, flying to the occasional survival game. We would love for you to join us. If you play these style of games, or if you're just looking for a great community, we strive to be a community you can be an active participant in by offering events like every third Saturday night is a late night trucking on Truckers MP. We have a very own Minecraft server and with other servers starting soon. Come join Simulators Anonymous today at www.simulatorsanonymous.com.
V-Speed is proud to be partnered with Below the Double Yellow podcast, a podcast for NASCAR fans by NASCAR fans. Listen to Nick and Joe discuss all the latest on-track action, available on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. V-Speed is also proud to present the 2021 Below the Double Yellow Cup Series, brought to you by the American Trucking Association, starting January 14th, 8:25 p.m. Eastern Time, Thursdays at twitch.tv/vspeedsim. And back at the racetrack with the Below the Double Yellow Cup Series Talladega winner, Eric Hutton. Will be pulling him up in the booth. Eric Hutton, Adam in the V-Speed booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Well, Eric, not a better time to win than tonight here at Talladega. Man, you timed it perfectly. 14 1/1000ths, the margin at the line. You just barely beat Keith. Describe that run to the finish there and how you got it done tonight.
Yeah, you know, that was one of the easiest races ever. We're just kind of sitting back stage 1 and 2, me and AJ, And the final corner, we decided, let's try and made it up to second each time. And in that final run there, we got the lead, and we were just sitting there looking in the mirror, wondering where he at, VSP, because we couldn't see anybody. And then up there at the very end, they got rungs. They had like 4 cars, just us 2, and still at the end, I mean, it took nothing. We just got the lead. So big thanks to everybody on the team and Jeffrey for making this paint, and it just could have gone better.
Yeah, we were talking about the paint. It's I don't know if it's intentionally, the way it is, but man, it's obviously a good luck piece for you. You lead 38 laps here. You did have to come through the field a little bit after starting 11th. But what does it mean, to be locked in next week and have a shot at this championship after, what's been kind of an up and down year for you?
Yeah, the year hasn't been great, but just happy to be locked in for Final Four. And big thanks to everybody at the team, and as well as Jeffrey making this paint. Hope he enjoys it while he still can. But definitely looking forward to next week and seeing what that brings.
Yeah, definitely going to be fun to see if you can capture the championship here up against your teammate AJ Stravato. Should be fun to watch. You've got Safe Fair is also in that fight, and we're still trying to figure out who that last driver is going to be in is. But either way, what a great run here, and a way to lock yourself in. Anybody want to give a quick shout out to before we let you go celebrate this victory with your team?
Yeah, just shout out to everybody at the league putting this on, and all the league sponsors, and big shout out to everybody at Jeremiah Vincent Motorsports, and AJ and Lane, Lyle, Josiah, Jeremiah, and also big shout out to Jeffrey this week. Just I think next week's gonna be great. No matter who's the 4th spot in, it's gonna be a hell of a race.
Awesome, Eric. Well, a great run here tonight. Awesome finish. You definitely want to go back and watch that one. I could barely believe you got that run to work, and man, what a drive here tonight. Congrats, and we'll catch you at the championship next week.
All right, we'll see you. Thanks.
All right, Eric Hutton, your race winner. What a drive, what a win, and what a way to do it here at Talladega. Let's pull up second place finisher, Mr. Keith Mayato. Get him up into the booth, and Zach, I believe you're with him.
Hey Keith, this is Zach up in the VSP booth. Do you have a copy with me?
10-4.
Man, you were very dominant all race, and you and your team had a great strategy there, and just unfortunately things didn't work out to get the win at the end. But second place and the 2 stage wins might be enough to get you into the final round, and if you do make it, obviously congratulations, and if you don't, still congratulations. Missing a race and getting as far as you did was great. But how you feeling after that? Very close, but how you feeling overall, man?
A little exhausted at the moment. Did everything I could. Probably pissed off a few teammates, but we worked well together. It's so hard to work together, but also race against each other. We're all going on our own, trying to win this race, but also trying to be teammates. And I think that was the most difficult thing, trying to work together for, the one single goal, which we all can't achieve in the end.
Yeah, you guys did a great job working together as much as you can. And Adam and I were talking that at some point, they're not going to be teammates anymore during this race. There's going to be a point in the race where that happens, and how like you were just kind of briefly going over how it feels to have to work against your teammates at some point, but like how much strategy wise does it take to actually say like I'm gonna screw my teammate over even if it means I'm winning? How do you go about doing that?
Put a few blocks like I did on Ryan on the backstretch. Unfortunately, I was probably willing to turn one of them for the win. Luckily, that didn't have to happen because that probably would have stirred something, but yeah, it was tough because, I'm always watching the mirror because I know, like when Ryan was there at the end, I know he's ready to make a move as well. So, I'm watching him, also watching Hutton and AJ making a move. So it was tough, right? It wasn't just like, okay, I can focus on one guy and move on. It was pretty much the whole field's there ready to go for the win.
Yeah, and you did a great job tonight. You obviously ruffled a few feathers there by getting a stage win at the beginning, passing your teammate, but either way, it's more than likely going to be either you or Ryan in that final spot, it looks like. And obviously you want to be in the final spot, but I'm sure you're going to be rooting for your teammates even if you're not in it. Great race though, Keith. Is there anyone you want to give a shout out to tonight?
Yeah, shout out to all my teammates, Ryan, Chris, Seth, Safe. We we were all ready to ditch each other for the win, but we stuck to the end, working together. And also Simulator Anonymous for sponsoring the race tonight. Yourself, Zach, and Adam for doing an awesome job on the broadcast tonight, and everyone at Double Yellow.
Hey, thanks, Keith. You did a great job tonight, and hey, maybe we'll be seeing you in the championship race and possibly talking to you again.
Fingers crossed.
Great job, Keith.
Well, good luck, buddy.
Guys, take care.
All right, second place finisher Keith Mayato there. Not quite enough for the race win, but definitely a strong performance overall. We'll see if it's enough to get him in. Well, let's go to third place finisher now. That is going to be AJ Stravato. We'll see if we can pull him into the booth. AJ, Adam in the V-Speed booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Well, AJ, you did everything you possibly could to get that number 77 to victory lane, and man, it sure worked out for you. What a finish. And you end up on the podium in the meanwhile, during all of that. Describe this race and just going about it, and especially those last few laps.
Yeah, that's freaking gnarly. That was a heck of a race. Just a lot of strategy I had to play out, and just how to manage runs. A lot of people were just trying to stay on the inside line, and I wanted to use the first two stages with me and Eric just to see how we could gap and time our runs, and we were able to kind of figure out if you were to gap the field a little bit to the guys in front of you, you were just able to make a big run. And him and I have always worked really well together, so it was just kind of a perfect scenario working together, to help him win. Obviously, that's my teammate, and he's going to be tough to beat, and I'm not sure the other driver besides him and Safe. It's going to be a tough task, but man, that was freaking awesome. I'm so pumped for Eric, man. That was really cool to be a part of, and that run off the back stretch all the way through 3 and 4, that was intense. But glad to help him win, and I'm sure it was exciting for you two to watch.
Yeah, definitely an intense finish. I mean, 14 1,000ths, that just doesn't happen every race. Like, you can get pretty close finishes at these super speedways, but this one, I almost didn't see it coming, right? I knew you guys had the run, but Keith kind of got separated down there on the inside, and you guys, you got together at the perfect time, and the run was timed just how you needed to. So, and what a fantastic job by you here tonight. And we do go to Phoenix for the finale. I know you're going to be up against these guys, against your teammate for the championship, but how do you feel about that racetrack?
I'll be honest with you, it's probably one of my worst racetracks on the service, so I'm gonna have to put in a little bit of practice, depending on what setup it is, and just seeing how the car reacts. If it's anything like it is in the fixed setup from the fall, it's extremely loose, so I'm gonna have to manage my rears, and at that track, for whatever reason, I just can't figure it out. So we got our work cut out for us, but I'm just excited, like I said, to get my teammate in there. That was really cool. That was freaking awesome. I'm still pretty pumped about that. That was probably one of the cooler finishes just in general at super speedways I've been a part of, and like I said, have a teammate come out on top rather than getting beat at the line or something like that's pretty dang cool.
Yeah, definitely was an amazing finish. The fans would agree. We were kind of in shock up here in the booth. I was like, wow, that was crazy, but great job, man. We'll see if you can get that championship. 7-time winner this season. It would be fitting to cap it off with a championship, but third place will do for tonight. Anybody want to give a shout out to?
Just Eric, man, that was freaking awesome working with them. Jeremiah, Josiah, the Vincents, when they were up here, we were working well together. I think we had a good plan and we stuck to it. Obviously, you and Zach, man, you guys do a hell of a job in the booth. I'm definitely looking forward to watching that one in the last few laps. We had I think a really gnarly save in 3. Just a couple other things that are going to be really cool to watch. So looking forward to that. All the league admins and, all the sponsors that make it happen. This is a lot of fun and fun to be a part of.
Yeah, and tonight was a perfect example of how great the racing can be. So fantastic job, AJ. Third place. We'll catch you next week at the championship.
Absolutely, brother. Looking forward to it. You guys have a good rest of your week.
All right, you too. That was AJ Stravato, third place finisher, able to push a teammate to the race win. And Eric Hutton advancing into the championship finale. Man, just a crazy race. Let's go through the rest of the results and kind of talk about some of the key moments and the recap here. Pull up those results. It was 5 cautions tonight 2 of those for the stages, and then the 3 cautions for wrecks and crashes. Those came all in the last stage, all really within the last 25 laps. It was clean and green up until that point, so things got shaken up a little bit. 7 total lead changes, and Eric Hutton just edging out Keith Maiato at the line to take the victory. Maiato finishing in 2nd, Stravato 3rd, Cody Adkins 4th, Dennis Faircloth 5th, Ryan Gemmel finishes in 6th after a very strong night. 7th, Seth Hatchell. It'll be very close for Seth if he makes it in or not. I don't know exactly. We'll have to wait for the points to be tallied up. Nick Starling finishes 8th. Lane Sulfridge with a nice strong top 10 in 9th, and Jordan Brackel with a top 10 in that 10th position. Zach, you can take it from there.
And finishing in 11th will be the 44th Seth Ferris, 12th Dallas Sullivan, 13th Jeremiah Vincent, 14th Zach Smith, 15th Dennis Steele, 16th Chris Samard, 17th Kyle M. Payne, 18th Brett Sommers, 19th Timmy Emanuele, 20th Josiah Vincent, 21st Nathaniel Ostrowski, 22nd Justin Carey, 23rd Lyle Sulfridge, 24th Eric Lambert, 25th Robert Gilmore, and rounding off the field in 26 is Jordan Shepler.
Yeah, so 26 drivers here tonight. We had 20 on the lead lap. And, man, just an incredible finish once again. Eric Hutton coming away with that race win. Very impressive drive for that 77 car. And he earns his way into the championship finale. Any final thoughts kind of before we head on out for the night? I don't think we're going to get the points updated just yet. So we'll have to share that out a bit later. But any thoughts, Zach?
That was an awesome finish. I really enjoyed that ending, and I honestly don't know why we didn't see it coming. Like Eric and AJ mentioned, they were practicing the first 2 stages on that run, and the first stage I remember us saying, where did they come from? And they managed to do it again and get the win, and Eric, obviously in a must-win situation, pulls it off. That was awesome. Probably the best race I've broadcasted so far, so very, very happy with that.
Yeah, definitely a fun race, and it's so funny that you say that. We saw them do it in the first 2 stages, but how quickly we forget with everything else that happens in the meantime. But that's all part of it. I think the drivers might have even forgotten that those guys did that too, because they're just trying to survive the rest of the way themselves. So what a finish. Eric Hutton with the race win will advance. You won't want to miss the championship finale next week. From Phoenix, it's a 200-lap race. So the drivers will have to earn it next week. It's not going to be quite the same as what we saw here tonight. You know, you're going to have to go out there, race your tail off, and have to win that thing on speed and on strategy potentially. But Phoenix, not the same beast that these super speedways are. It'll be a lot of fun, and should be a great time. But that'll be our next broadcast on Thursday. We have Wednesday night off from the Virtual Racing League, so no broadcast Wednesday night. We want to thank everybody who tuned in this evening here on YouTube. You can check us out at all these different links on the screen to stay up to date with what we're doing. If you enjoyed, please consider subscribing right here on YouTube, and also following us on those different platforms. Really does help us out quite a lot. We do appreciate all of your support. And you can also learn more about what we do at vspeedsim.com if you're interested in broadcasting services, as well as custom design work, paint schemes, and so much more. We do want to thank the sponsor of tonight's race, simulatorsanonymous.com, or Simulators Anonymous, that group. You can check them out at simulatorsanonymous.com to learn more about what they're all about. And we do appreciate them putting up the sponsorship for tonight's race. I'm just trying to delay and see if we can find out who is making it in, but I don't think we're going to have any word on that until a little bit later. But we'll announce it on social media, so keep an eye out for that. And again, thank you so much for tuning in, and have a great night.